Good afternoon, fellow patriots. This is TomZ. I am the president of the We the People Convention, executive director of the Porch Kai Tea Party, and the president of the Ohio Citizens PAC. As you know, last night, President Trump announced his beginning of his re-election campaign for 2020. And I'm sure many of you watched it, and it was very exciting, and it was a great event. And we're all very enthused about this. We certainly are committed to re-electing Donald Trump in 2020. But we've got some serious problems because the fact of the matter is that in 2016, we used social media to basically win that election because it was cheap and very efficient. I would run videos that would, for $100 would reach 60,000 people. And these were very effective things for us to do. I ran this sign, on Facebook, and it was very powerful. And this was taken at a Hillary Clinton, anti-Hillary Clinton protest at Kent State University just like a week before the election. We were very effective. That was not just my, take on things. That's what the left decided. In May of 2017, they came out with a post-mortem document from Democracy Matters where they basically spelled it all out. They said, that the bottom line was that the Trump people and the conservatives and basically us in the Tea Party, that we just destroyed them. We got clobbered, as they said, in the digital space. We dominated Facebook. We were the ones that really, when they had beaten us in 2012 using social media, by 2016 we had figured it out, and we kicked their butts. So what were they going to do? Well, folks, they've been doing it. In that May 2017 document, they laid out the plan, and they basically said that they're going to ban us from social media. They're going to make Google and Facebook and those people, make it impossible for them to cover people like us, to get our message out. And that's exactly what's been happening, hasn't it? I mean, it's just that simple. The Facebook censorship has been unbelievable. I mean, you are all, I've had it. We've all been involved with it. Look at this post from 2017 where I basically put forward on Constitution Day a post that said, hey, today's Constitution Day. Why don't you read the Constitution? Yeah. And what did they do? They came back and said, no, your ad is banned. I was going to pay them money to just tell people to read the Constitution on Constitution Day, and they said because the landing page, the We the People Convention landing page, would be hurtful to people who go to it. Really? Seriously? This is insanity. But it's continuing to happen. Just this month, John McAvoy, one of our leading Tea Party leaders from Toledo, the Toledo Tea Party, he was trying to promote an event where Steve Moore was coming to speak as a fundraiser, and Facebook wouldn't let him post his ad for that. This is outrageous. And we need to understand that this is not going to change, right? Twitter. It's not your imagination. Twitter treats conservatives more harshly than liberals, and the Twitter CEO says we can't afford to be neutral. You can't afford to be neutral? So what are you and I doing on Twitter? The answer is nothing. I'm not on Twitter, and you shouldn't be either, and neither should the president. I've begged the White House to put a Twitter-like feature on whitehouse.gov and get off of Twitter. And then I've talked to his campaign staff and said, you need to create a Trump app that is a Twitter capability and have the president announce that he's not going to support Twitter because they're censoring his supporters, and have everybody buy this Trump app. How cool would that be? But they won't listen. They haven't done anything. Google is stopping people from getting to your web pages. They're the world's censor. Dr. Robert Epstein, who came to Ohio and spoke to the Porch Kai Tea Party a couple months ago, he calls Google's search manipulation the strongest form of mind control ever invented by man. And he's proven that Google, by changing the search results, can move millions of votes. You don't even know this stuff. But in 2016, You know, when you go to Google to search, that you get that little, the Google, search box, and they make it look real fancy. They put little characters on there and stuff like that. Well, on election day, there were certain people where that box said, go vote. But not everybody, because they were trying to influence the election. And it's going to just be worse this year. And we all know about YouTube censorship. They've been out of control, whether it be, Jordan Peterson or Dennis Prager or Krauthammer or any of these guys that are on, they're being censored all the time. And then this latest thing just came out just in the last week where Project Veritas had this guy from Pinterest who, spilled the beans. He's a whistleblower and said that Pinterest was coding pro-life websites and pro-life Pinterest posts as porn, and they were censoring Bible verses. This is not our imagination, folks. It's been happening a long time. Here's a letter that I wrote to Jim Jordan in 2016, before the 2016 election, begging them to look into the fact that Obama and Google were in bed together and they were going to try to move votes. And nothing's happened. Nothing's happened. And I mean, it's just mindless. So then I came across this article from this past November 18th. Did email providers suppress Republicans in the 2018 election? And look at this. Look at the chart that they came up in this article. It shows what percentage of Republican emails were blocked and what percentage of Democrats. Do you think 100% are blocked? Is pretty outrageous? How do you win elections when you've got that much blockage going on, when they're stopping us from communicating? And that's where our problem is, my fellow patriots. That's why I'm doing this video for today, because basically they're silencing us, and a big point, us meaning me, because I'm not on Facebook or Twitter anymore. I can't use social media. I don't post this video on YouTube because they'll be blocked. And then they started going after my emails. Here's a chart from emails that I was sending out. Remember on tax day, they were claiming that no one got a tax cut? And that's just bogus. That's a lie. And I was sending out emails saying, absolutely, you got a tax cut. Here's the proof. Here's how you calculate it. Look at this chart. I'm sending out to 90,000 voters, and we're paying for these emails, and only less than 3% were getting through. Why was that? Well, I've looked into this, and I found out that Google and those guys were changing the rules. They were blocking us from getting out, and we didn't know it. And now we've made some changes, but if you're getting this email, if you're seeing this video, you're probably only one of maybe 18 to 20% of the people I'm trying to reach who got this. So I need you to share this message because it's a really important message. What I'm trying to tell you is the tools we used in 2016 to win Ohio for Donald Trump are not available for us in 2020. And we must take action or we're going to lose. And if you don't believe me, well then watch this video with Tucker Carlson and he'll explain it.
Silicon Valley is dramatically stepping up its efforts to silence viewpoints it disagrees with, anything right of center. It's not your imagination. It's happening right now before the 2020 election for the purpose of influencing that election. Harmeet Dillon knows a lot about this. She's one of the most famous attorneys in America on the question of big tech and its threat to our liberties, and she joins us tonight. So, but think of the practical consequences. So newspapers are all but dead. Radio is in decline in general. Cable news speaks with one voice with the exception of just a very few shows, this among them. So really, social media, that's the entire political conversation. That's where it takes place. And if you control the terms, then you control the outcome of the election, don't you?
You will, and Republicans are ignoring this at their peril. And I keep saying this, I feel like, Cassandra, I keep saying this, we are going to lose every single election going forward if we don't put a stop to this bias.
Listen to what she said. She said, we're going to lose every election going forward if we don't stop this political bias. Now, I know there's some efforts underway by the DOJ and some of the Trump administration, but it's not enough, and it's not going to stop us in 2020. Mark my words, they will cut Donald Trump off from Twitter during the 2020 election in order to win. They will do whatever it takes to win, and we've got to do what it takes to win. And so when I look at this and I say they're blocking my emails, they're blocking us off of Facebook and Pinterest and YouTube and all these things, what are you and I supposed to do? How are we going to communicate to each other and to the voters in order to get Trump the victory in Ohio? He must have the win. Well, there's only one answer I've got, and that is I want to build an Ohio Tea Party radio network. Now, we're not going to call it the Tea Party Radio Network. We're going to call it, news you can use or whatever. But basically, this is going to be a weekly show every Saturday that's going to be on 5 stations that will cover the whole state of Ohio. And it'll be our ability to filter out all the noise, focus on what's important to our individual freedom and liberty, and then act on that. If you've ever listened to one of my other radio shows, you know that it's the most informative show you'll ever have, but it's also a show about action. It's not about just talking and getting you all fired up. It's about what we're going to do to fix it and how we're going to win elections. And so we want to do this statewide radio network, and basically, it's going to cost money to do this, to cover the whole state. And I need you to donate in order to make that happen. So what I need from you is for you to go to wethepeopleconvention.org and click on the donate to build our radio network and donate $10. And I would prefer if you could donate $10 a month. $10 a month. If 8,000 patriots donate $10, we will have our $80,000 budget to do radio for the whole year of 2020. And if 750 patriots, just 750 donate $10 per month, we'll raise $84,000. $10 a month for your individual liberty and freedom. Folks, we got to have this. I don't know what else to tell you. If we don't have this voice, I don't know how we're going to reach the people in this state to help them understand what Donald Trump has done for them and what he's going to do going forward, and really what the threat is from the socialist left. So I need you to go to wethepeopleconvention.org and donate. I appreciate you listening to this video, and I hope I'll get your support.